Hello, my name is Kay McDonald, and I'm with the Power of Charms podcast and video, and I'm so excited. My guest today is Deborah Bateman. Deborah, hello. How are you?
Hey, Kay, how are you? It's so good to see you.
I
I
am.
missed you. I
I
missed you.
know you've been on the road for what, 6 months with your traveling with your husband?
Yep, we have been out and about exploring, or as we like to call it, risk blossoming, seeing new places, discovering, exploring, and really growing in the process.
It's such a wonderful thing to witness that somebody who's been married for a while to the same man. We'll get into that story, but how you have just taken and done this what you call risk blossoming, and you're enjoying each other. You're going all over the country. You're doing these amazing podcasts and blogs and telling stories and taking fabulous pictures. So I want to start though with telling people how you and I know each other. So I met Deborah when she was at National Bank of Arizona, and she still is at National Bank of Arizona as the vice chairman. Um, a little semi-retired, but still involved. And I think I've known you now 20 years. Something like that. Anyway, we've done lots of fun projects together. National Bank of Arizona and Charity Charms teamed up to do several collaborative campaigns through the years, and Deb and I've been involved with that. And then I also made custom bracelets for you to go on your trips. You do these wonderful Wisdom Quest trips, so
Correct.
to different places all over the world. So we've had lots of fun with business and with personal. But that's kind of our background together. And that's why I'm so excited, because I have seen you absolutely go from being a very wonderful banker, leading women, just being a real force in the Phoenix community, and now kind of moving on and blossoming into a whole new career. You're mentoring people, you're counseling, and you have kind of redefined your why. So enough about me talking, Deborah. Let's hear from you. So give me a
Well,
synopsis of kind of your career and your life and how you got here. Okay.
I've been a banker for 50 years.
Oh my gosh.
The milestone freaks me out because obviously, how could that possibly be? But this year, I absolutely celebrate my 50th year in banking. I started as a teller and advanced through the ranks. And, part of my lessons learned in my life and part of my journey was really trying to validate as a young woman who I was. And a corporate environment gave me that opportunity to advance, validate, move on to the next thing. But it also kept my focus incredibly narrow on me and what could I possibly achieve and or do. And that's kind of the lesson learned in my life, and kind of the platform for my opportunity now to break out of that mold. I can still do those pieces, but to truly risk blossoming.
Right. That's so incredible. So you had the whole professional background, which it was very unusual for a woman to, go up in the ranks in banking for 50 years. And so that kind of gave you a platform of stability, I would say. But one of the other things too that I have always seen just in knowing you and seeing how you work is that you really, really support other women. You lift other women up, whether they work for you or whether they're somebody's daughter or they are in a mutual women's group with you. To me, that's one of the things that defines Deborah Bateman, is a supportive, collaborative, and a leader.
Thank you. And that means a lot to me. As I've matured, as I got out of my me stage, what can I do? And I need to be validated. What's my next step? I was able to really relax because I recognized who I was. And I'm going to use some words that I use in my branding coaching, but what my differentiator was.
Sure.
And along that same time, I really feel that I developed I call it an intuitive radar where I could see or feel people's gifts and or their differentiators or the things that they could provide. And so I've got a keen interest when I meet someone or when I'm working with someone to really, I'm going to say, ask the next question and really understand who they are and what they can do. And I have been fortunate many times to recognize individuals' potential before they've even recognized it and embraced it.
So what would be like one or three of the key questions that you would ask somebody to bring out how they figure out what their why is?
You know, there's a whole process, but I mean, it's interesting. And Kay, I know a little bit about your story, but I mean, see if this fits. So many times our why was very obvious during a period during our childhood. And I'm going to say from the ages 6 to 12, somewhere in there, something happened, you were exposed to something, someone influenced you, but it woke up something in you that you recognize. You may not have recognized it in these terms, but it fed your soul. It rewarded you. You wanted more.
Right.
I mean, you did that. I mean, you're doing charity charms today a lot because of an experience or experiences that you had as a young girl.
Absolutely. It's kind of a whole culmination of experiences and loves. Well, like you said, you're basically a born leader. I'm kind of a born collaborator. I love pulling people together and making things happen. Like when I was a young girl, I used to do these neighborhood shows, and I'd have all the kids, and I'd be directing and coordinating, and and I kind of do that now with the charity campaigns. It's like
exactly.
so
and,
yeah.
and I mean, as a kid, tell me, did that not do something? I mean, whether it made your heart sing, whether you felt full, whether you knew you had created value, but it was something about the experience and succeeding in it that made you want more.
Yes, absolutely. So I guess it was just kind of a natural progression into what I'm doing now. But a lot of people don't realize that, and I think that that's a fantastic question and something that you pointed out. It seems like it would be so obvious, but it's not.
Yep. I mean, it's a lot of times as adults, we begin living a life, and my generation probably more so than the younger generations, but we were living a life in which we were trying to please others. We were trying to please our parents. We were trying to please a husband. We were trying to please a boss. And so it was like abracadabra, I will be who you want me to be.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, the secret to life is not being who somebody else wants you to be. It's truly about being who you are authentically.
Absolutely. And that is really a key component of personal branding too. And one of the things that I have seen you do is evolve. You used to do lots of suits, and you were very, very professional. And now look at you today with this fabulous top and big earrings. And
I wouldn't have worn this to work, would I?
I love it. I love it. So tell me about personal branding and your philosophy of personal branding, and how important it is to really think about lots of different components, especially if you're in the public eye.
You bet. Well, as I work with individuals on branding, and by the way, your why statement is a component of your personal brand statement. So, I mean, we do discover the why first, but then it's really and truly about making sure that others see you as you see yourself. Because, and this is a Deborah Batemanism, if you don't brand yourself, somebody else will. And it's in essence the reputation that goes ahead of you. When you say, do you know Kay McDonald? And someone says, oh yeah, I know her. And then someone may throw some words in. There is an incredible power in influencing those words. And one of the things that I do with clients is we build a plan. Not only, number one, we build a branding statement which contains the words that you want to be recognized by, but and or acknowledged by. And it's one of those things that it's actually very magical. And I've got experiences in my own life where, real quick, I had a boss mid-career that when I went in and asked for a job, he was a new boss to me. He said, "Oh, Deborah, you're not ready. I really need somebody with a little bit more experience, bandwidth, and experience dealing with human resource issues." And I was crushed, because while I wasn't totally qualified for the job, I felt confident that I could jump in, I could learn, I could, create value. And over the next year, I really focused on using those words: bandwidth, experience with, I used them with him, I used them with other people. And I mean, it wasn't necessarily deliberate, but having heard those words from him, I recognized that he perceived a deficiency in those. So I was trying to compensate to convince him and others that I truly had that background and that experience. And unknowingly, I mean, a year later, the gentleman that he hired for the position, he had to let go. And I marched right back into the office and I said, he goes, "I know what you're going to say, Deborah. You want this job." And he goes, "And I want you in this job because," and it was like, holy mackerel, "you have the bandwidth, you have the experience, and you've got the dealings with the human resource issues." And it was like, yeah, and it was like, I didn't even have to say it. And the irony was, and this is before emails, when he sent the memo out to announce my promotion and my new role, he actually used those 3 describers once again. So in a way, mid-career, I had done some rebranding in order to accommodate myself and have him perceive me to be a value. And that's not what I suggest today. I suggest really reaching in, understanding what your best strengths are, what gives you the differentiator in the world, what makes you unique, what creates that value, and then describing yourself with those words. I mean, I use heartfelt leader, as a preface to who I am. And I use the heartfelt because that is exactly the way I lead. I mean, it comes from here because I believe in leading, in helping others understand their potential, their contribution, the value that they can bring, and how we can do something together.
Well, I love the words heartfelt leader. I mean, that definitely defines you. And it's interesting because I was going to say, is there one word or a few words that you would use to define what you're doing right now? One of the things that has always been such a part of your ethos to me is that you have such a giving heart. You have done so much with nonprofits and charities and giving back throughout your career with the bank, and then continuing into your personal life. Do you have a philosophy of giving that you can share, that kind of runs your life?
You know what, Kay, it's actually my why. I mean, I am, and I think you are too. I'm a giver. I mean, that if I can give, if I can create value, if I can give something to you, an organization, a community, a corporation, whatever, then I feel I've made a difference, that I have value, and that is my why.
I love it. I love it. There's so many things I want to talk to you about, and I know that we're a little bit short on time here. But what else would you like to tell our audience? Because you are such an inspiration, and you're doing so many interesting things right now with your life. What else should we know about Deborah Bateman?
I think here's my baseline, my bottom line is that I don't think there's a greater gift than to honor your why, or what I call your life's calling. It's actually why you were born. And I mean, regardless of what religion, what spiritual, trails that you may follow, it is truly why you are on this earth. And when you discover your why, when you can create that brand, when you can truly be yourself, then you truly become most alive. And
Mm.
it enriches everything you do. And I will even go as far as to say it will also enhance all of your relationships too, so that you get to live this beautiful, grateful life in which you feel you are creating value, you are making a difference, and that you're doing exactly why you were put on this earth.
A life truly filled full of purpose. Absolutely.
Absolutely. That's exactly a purpose-driven life.
Yes. So Deb, if somebody wants to reach out and get to absorb a little more Deborah Bateman, should they go to riskblossoming.com?
They can go to riskblossoming.com, and they can also go at deborahbateman.com. There is the power in the mutual branding. And I mean, it's one of the things that I really work with individuals to understand, that while you may have a brand for your company or your not-for-profit or your organization, there's also incredible value in branding yourself at the same time. And as you align with your organization, I believe that 1 and 1 make 11. I mean, it's way more powerful. I mean, Kay, think back that when I was, actively working at National Bank of Arizona, and I was in the community. I mean, people knew Deborah Bateman, but they also knew I was Deborah Bateman at National Bank of Arizona. And so there is a power, and that in essence is where you become that go-to person. Do you know a banker? Oh, absolutely. I know Deborah Bateman. I mean, you become the go-to person. And as opposed to you going and finding those clients, the clients come to you.
Well, that certainly defines the importance of personal branding. And I just love that. I love everything that you said today. It's so inspiring. And I feel so honored that I got to interview you today. And thank you for being our guest. And thank you for all of your support for me and all of my programs and endeavors throughout the years. It's just been you've been a wonderful asset to
Okay. I mean, we've known each other 20 years. I've been telling you for 20 years that you are a marketing genius, and I adore you, and I love you, and I love our conversations when we're together. Thank you.